The chains of unity. The vote was unanimous. Every single species in the Galactic Federation had raised their appendages, tentacles, or claws in agreement. Earth was too dangerous to remain free. Supreme Arbiter HFY of the Zephyrian Empire stood at the center of the massive crystalline chamber, his forearms spread wide in triumph. His violet skin gleamed under the artificial suns that lit the Federation's capital station. Around him, representatives from over 300 worlds celebrated what they believed was their greatest achievement. "It is decided," HFY announced, his voice carrying through translation devices to every corner of the vast assembly. "The species known as humans will be placed under protective custody for the safety of all civilized worlds." The Manthari delegation clicked their mandibles in approval. The gas-breathing Vorthok wheezed their agreement through their environmental suits. Even the peaceful Elderians, known throughout the galaxy for their compassion, had voted to cage humanity. "They reproduce too quickly," complained Ambassador Threz of the insectoid hive worlds. "Their population doubles every few decades, while ours takes centuries. Their technology advances at an impossible rate," added General Mordok of the militaristic Kriegans. "In just 200 years since first contact, they've matched weapons that took us millennia to develop. Most dangerous of all," HFY continued, "they refuse to follow proper galactic protocols. They explore where they shouldn't. They ask questions that shouldn't be asked. They challenge authority that shouldn't be challenged." The chamber erupted. In agreement, species after species shared their fears. Humans were too curious, too stubborn, too willing to fight for their beliefs. They didn't respect the ancient ways. They didn't accept their place in the galactic hierarchy. What the Federation saw as dangerous, humans called freedom. 3 days later, the blockade began. Massive Federation fleets surrounded Earth's solar system like a cage of starships. Not a single human vessel was allowed in or out. All communication with Earth was severed. Trade agreements were cancelled overnight. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her research vessel. The pioneer's dream, watching the Federation warships through her viewport. Her ship was one of the last human vessels outside the blockade when it went into effect. Now she and her crew of 37 were stranded, cut off from home. "They're not even pretending this is temporary," muttered her first officer. Commander Jake Morrison, a grizzled veteran with silver streaking his dark hair. "Look at those positions. They're settling in for a long siege." Sarah nodded, her jaw tight with anger. She was young for a captain at 35, but she'd earned her position through brilliance and determination. Her dark eyes studied the enemy formation with tactical precision. "Any word from the other human ships?" she asked. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Park, shook her head. "The Stellar Phoenix went silent 6 hours ago. The Magellan stopped responding yesterday. I think they're being captured one by one." "Or destroyed," added Chief Engineer Tom Bradley grimly. His Australian accent was thick with worry. "The Federation's been real quiet about what happens to ships that resist detention." Sarah turned away from the viewport and faced her crew. These weren't soldiers, they were explorers and scientists. The pioneer's dream was equipped for research, not war. But as she looked into their faces, she saw something that would have terrified the Federation if they'd been watching. She saw humans who refused to surrender. "Listen up, everyone," Sarah said, her voice calm but firm. "The Federation thinks they can cage us like animals. They think we'll just roll over and accept their chains." She paused, letting her words sink in. "They don't know humans very well, do they?" A grim smile spread across Commander Morrison's weathered face. "Lieutenant Park straightened in her chair. Chief Bradley cracked his knuckles. One by one, the entire bridge crew began to smile. It wasn't a happy expression. It was the smile of predators who'd just been challenged. "What's the plan, Captain?" asked Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's xenobiologist. The brilliant scientist had been studying alien species for years, learning their weaknesses as much as their strengths. Sarah walked to the central command console and activated the ship's secure communication system. "First, we find out if Earth has a plan. I have a feeling our homeworld wasn't caught as off guard as the Federation thinks." She was right. Deep beneath the Colorado mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Admiral Marcus Webb stood before a wall of screens showing the Federation blockade. He was a tall man with steel-gray hair and eyes like winter storms. For 20 years, he'd been preparing for this exact moment. "Phase 1 is complete," reported Colonel Lisa Jong, his chief of operations. "All Federation surveillance satellites in the outer system have been compromised. They think they're watching empty space, but our ships are moving freely in the shadow zones." "Phase 2, Webb asked. "The Prometheus station is fully operational. The New Horizons colony has activated its defense grid. The Mars shipyards are running at full capacity." Colonel Jong smiled coldly. "The Federation blocked Earth, sir. They forgot about our other worlds." Admiral Webb had spent decades building humanity's secret infrastructure. While the Federation watched Earth, humans had been quietly spreading throughout their local stellar neighborhood, mining colonies on asteroids, research stations in deep space, hidden shipyards on distant moons. The Federation thought they were caging a single world. They'd actually surrounded themselves with human colonies they didn't know existed. "How long until our ships are in position?" Webb asked. 18 hours, sir. The fleet will be ready." "And our friends in the Federation?" Colonel Jong's smile widened. "The Elderians are already having second thoughts. The Peaceful Traders Union is quietly asking if they can negotiate separate peace terms. Seems some species are remembering why they actually liked having humans around." Webb nodded. The Federation wasn't as united as they pretended. Many species had profited from human trade and technology. Others had appreciated human protection from raiders and pirates. Some had even formed genuine friendships with humanity. What about the Warhawks, Kethfer and his supporters? Still convinced they're in control. Intelligence reports they're planning a pacification demonstration to show other species what happens when you oppose Federation authority. Admiral Webb's expression darkened. The Federation was about to learn a very painful lesson about underestimating humanity back in space. Captain Chen received the coded message she'd been hoping for. Earth hadn't surrendered. Earth had a plan, and the pioneer's dream had a crucial role to play. "Tom, I need everything you can give me from the engines," Sarah ordered. "Amy, start monitoring Federation communication channels. I want to know everything they're saying to each other. Jake, plot a course for the Kepler station. We've got friends there who might be willing to help." "Aye, Captain," her officers responded in unison, as the pioneer's dream altered course and accelerated. Away from the blockade, none of the Federation ships followed. Why would they? It was just one small human research vessel. What possible threat could it pose? They would learn the answer soon enough in the Federation Council chamber. Supreme Arbiter Kethvar was meeting with his closest allies, General Morday. Of the Kriegans paced back and forth, his reptilian features twisted with impatience. "We should move immediately," the general hissed. "Destroy their space stations, bombard their military installations, show them the price of defiance. Patience, Kethva counseled, though his own 4 eyes gleamed with anticipation. We must follow proper procedures. First comes the demonstration of power, then comes the lesson. Ambassador Threz of the Hive Worlds rubbed her mandibles together nervously. What if they resist more than expected? Humans are unpredictable. They are trapped, Kethva declared. 1 world against 300, 1 species against an entire galaxy. Even humans cannot fight mathematics. But as the Zephyrian leader spoke those confident words, something was happening throughout the Federation that would have chilled his violet blood. On the trade world of Mectantia, dock workers discovered that their cargo handling systems had mysteriously upgraded themselves overnight. The new systems were more efficient, more powerful, and completely under human control. In the peaceful Traders Union territory, communication relays that humans had helped install years ago suddenly revealed hidden capabilities. Every message the Federation sent was being quietly copied and transmitted to human intelligence. On the manufacturing world of Industrial Prime, automated factories that used human-designed technology began producing items that weren't on any official work orders, items that looked suspiciously like weapons and equipment for a species that was supposedly contained. The Federation had welcomed human technology throughout their territory for decades. They'd eagerly adopted human improvements to their infrastructure, their communications, their manufacturing. What they hadn't realized was that humans never gave away technology without keeping a few secrets. Every system humanity had helped build contained hidden protocols, waiting for the right signal to activate. Every piece of human technology in Federation space was actually a sleeping agent, waiting for orders from home. As Captain Chan's ship raced toward its destination, as Admiral Webb prepared his hidden fleets, and as Federation leaders planned their demonstration of power, the galaxy was about to discover what happens when you try to chain the one species that had spent centuries planning for this exact moment. The Federation thought they had caged Earth. They were about to learn that they had actually caged themselves. The awakening storm. The first sign that something was wrong came at dawn on the trade world of Mectantia. Cargo Handler, Unit 7743. A massive automated crane that had been enhanced with human efficiency protocols 3 years earlier, suddenly stopped responding to its Zephyrian controllers. Instead, it began moving cargo containers in patterns that made no sense to the alien supervisors. The containers weren't being loaded onto outbound ships as ordered. They were being arranged in precise geometric formations across the landing bays. "What is that machine doing?" demanded Supervisor Veltar, his violet skin flushing darker with irritation. His assistant, a nervous Manthari named Click7, consulted his datapad with shaking claws. "The automation protocols appear to have ... evolved, sir. The crane is following new instructions." "Whose instructions?" "Unknown, sir. The commands are encoded in a format our systems cannot read." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were unfolding on hundreds of worlds. Human-enhanced technology was awakening, following orders that no Federation species could understand or override. On Industrial Prime, the massive manufacturing complexes that produced Federation starships suddenly began fabricating items that weren't on any approved design list. Strange devices that Federation engineers couldn't identify. Equipment that seemed designed for species they'd never encountered. "Shut it down," ordered Plant Manager Morkith, a Kregan whose scales were turning red with rage. "Override the production sequence." "We cannot, sir," his chief engineer reported, fear creeping into his voice. The manufacturing AI has locked us out. It's citing production contracts we have no record of authorizing. What contracts? Emergency requisition orders signed by Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Colonial Defense Force. Morcath's blood ran cold. The Human Colonial Defense Force was supposed to be trapped on Earth. How could they be issuing orders to machines on Federation worlds? The answer was simple, though none of the Federation leaders understood it yet. For decades, humans had been quietly seeding their technology throughout galactic civilization. Every improvement they'd offered, every efficiency upgrade they'd installed, every helpful modification they'd made contained hidden subroutines. Now those subroutines were activating. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Pioneer's Dream, watching the controlled chaos unfold through intercepted Federation communications. Her ship had reached the Kepler station, a research facility on the edge of Federation space, where she'd found unexpected allies. The Elderians are ready to help, reported Dr. Lena Vasquez, returning from a meeting with the station's peaceful inhabitants. They're saying the Federation vote wasn't as unanimous as Kethva claimed. Many species were pressured into supporting the blockade. Commander Morrison nodded grimly. Typical Federation politics. Coercion disguised as democracy. Lieutenant Park looked up from her communication station, excitement in her voice. Captain, I'm receiving a priority signal from Admiral Webb. Operation Thunderstrike is beginning. Sarah felt a surge of satisfaction. Thunderstrike was the contingency plan humanity had been developing for 20 years. The plan for what to do if the galaxy ever tried to cage them. All stations, prepare for combat operations, Sarah ordered. We're about to show the Federation what happens when you threaten human freedom. The Pioneer's Dream wasn't alone anymore. Throughout Federation space, human vessels that had been hiding in the shadows were revealing themselves. Ships that had been listed as destroyed or missing were very much alive and ready to fight. The research vessel New Horizons emerged from behind an asteroid, its peaceful exterior hiding advanced weapon systems. The cargo hauler Bright Future dropped its disguise to reveal military-grade armor and engines. The explorer ship Distant Dreams activated weapon systems that Federation scanners couldn't even identify. But the real shock came when the massive human battleship Indomitable uncloaked directly in front of Supreme Arbiter, Kethva's command station. The Indomitable was impossible. Federation intelligence had tracked its construction in Earth's orbital shipyards and confirmed its destruction during a testing accident 5 years ago. Yet here it was, bristling with weapons and surrounded by a fleet of human warships that weren't supposed to exist. How is this possible? Kethva demanded, his forearms gesturing frantically at his tactical displays. Our intelligence confirmed these ships were destroyed. General Mordok was studying the readings with growing horror. Sir, those aren't the only ones. I'm detecting human vessels throughout Federation space. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. That's impossible. They were contained to one system, asterisk. Apparently not, sir. The truth was finally becoming clear to the Federation leadership. While they'd been watching Earth, humans had been building a secret empire throughout the galaxy. Hidden colonies on unnamed worlds, concealed shipyards in remote systems, underground bases on planets the Federation considered worthless. Humanity hadn't been contained. Humanity had been pretending to be contained while they prepared for war. Admiral Webb's voice suddenly echoed through every Federation communication channel in the galaxy, his words translated into hundreds of languages by systems the aliens couldn't shut down. People of the Federation, the Admiral began, his tone calm but carrying an undertone of steel. You have made a grave mistake. You have declared humanity a threat and attempted to cage us like animals. You have forgotten that humans are not prey species. We are predators. On his command station, Kethver frantically tried to cut off the transmission, but his technicians shook their heads helplessly. The human signal was being broadcast through their own communication networks, and they couldn't stop it. For decades, you have benefited from human technology, human trade, and human protection, Webb continued. You have welcomed us as partners while secretly fearing us as rivals. Now your fear has driven you to a decision that will cost you everything. Throughout the galaxy, Federation worlds were discovering just how much they had come to depend on human technology. Transportation networks built with human improvements suddenly stopped working. Power grids, enhanced by human engineers, began shutting down. Communication systems that used human protocols went silent. On the core world of Zephyria, Kethver's own palace experienced a complete systems failure. The lights went out. The environmental controls stopped working. The security systems locked down, trapping the Supreme Arbiter in his own command center. This is impossible, he shouted into the darkness. We are 300 species united. They are one species alone. From the shadows came a voice he didn't recognize. A human voice, speaking perfect Zephyrian. You never understood us at all, did you? Emergency lighting flickered on, revealing a figure in black armor standing in the center of the command room. The human was tall, lean, with cold grey eyes that seemed to see right through Kethver's bluster. Who are you? The Supreme Arbiter demanded, his forearms reaching for weapons that were no longer there. Commander Sarah Chen, Human Colonial Defense Force. I represent the species you tried to cage. This is my command station. My world. You have no authority here. Sarah smiled, and Kethver felt a chill run through his violet blood. It was the smile of a predator who had cornered her prey. Your authority ended the moment you voted to chain Earth, she said calmly. You declared war on humanity. Now you get to experience what human warfare really looks like. Around the galaxy, the systematic dismantling of Federation power was accelerating. Human agents, embedded in Federation society for years, were revealing themselves. Technology that alien species had trusted was turning against them. Ships that had seemed safely moored in their harbors were discovering that their human-built components wouldn't respond to commands. On Industrial Prime, Morkith watched in horror as the manufacturing plants continued producing items for the human military while Federation soldiers stood helplessly outside, unable to enter buildings protected by security systems they couldn't override. On Makansha, Supervisor Veltar realized that the cargo containers being moved by the rogue cranes weren't random at all. They were weapons and supplies being systematically distributed to human agents. Throughout the trade hub, in the depths of space, Federation patrol fleets found themselves facing human warships that appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. The Federation had overwhelming numbers, but humans had spent decades preparing for this moment. Every system they'd helped build contained backdoors. Every improvement they'd offered came with hidden costs. Every act of friendship had been preparation for this war. Status report, demanded General Morduk. His reptilian features twisted with rage and fear. His aide, a young Kregan officer, consulted his datapad with shaking claws. Sir, we've lost contact with 47 core worlds. The human ships appear and disappear faster than our sensors can track them. Our supply lines are collapsing. How long have we been fighting? 6 hours, sir. Mordok stared at his aide in disbelief. 6 hours, and the mighty Galactic Federation was already falling apart. Back on Kethva's command station, Sarah Chen was explaining the situation to the Supreme Arbiter with clinical precision. You see, we've been preparing for this since first contact, she said, her voice never rising above conversational tones. Every human who visited your worlds, every piece of technology we shared, every trade agreement we signed, it was all preparation for the day you would inevitably try to destroy us. You planned this, Kethva whispered. We planned for every possibility. We hoped for peace, but we prepared for war. You gave us 2 centuries to get ready. That was your first mistake, and our second. Sarah's smile grew colder, thinking, you could win. Throughout Federation space, the pattern was becoming clear. Human forces weren't trying to conquer territory or destroy populations. They were systematically dismantling the Federation's ability to wage war while offering mercy to species who surrendered. The Eldarians, who had always secretly opposed the blockade, were the first to capitulate. They opened their spaceports to human ships and began providing humanitarian aid to Federation worlds whose infrastructure was collapsing. The Peaceful Traders Union followed quickly, their leaders privately admitting they had never wanted to fight humans in the first place. They had been coerced into supporting the blockade by threats from more militant species, one by one. Federation worlds were discovering that their choice was simple: surrender to humanity, or watch their civilization collapse as human-dependent. Technology shut down around them. The galaxy that had voted unanimously to cage Earth was now begging humanity for mercy, and in the command centers of the Human Colonial Defense Force, Admiral Webb and his officers were just getting started. Asterisk.